Hi, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of Unboxed Healing. I'm Meredith. I'm a licensed counselor physically in New Jersey, but licensed in six states now. Um,
Wow.
and so my practice is mostly remote, been mostly remote uh, for the better part of the decade. And I am shifting more into doing some training, educational stuff. And so this has been a really fun part of that adventure, we'll say. And today I'm very excited. We have Colleen with us we share some very similar interests and a little bit of different specialties within those interests, but I'm really excited to hear from her and her topic today. So I'll pass it over to Colleen and you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Meredith. I'm so impressed. You're licensed in 6 states. That's pretty neat. My name is Colleen, and I am licensed in one state, California. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist with a bachelor's degree in music therapy. And I work with children and adults using a variety of interventions. Um, I'm a passionate brain spotter and passionate about using therapeutic music intervention in the session if the session lends itself to that. I also have advanced training in attachment theory, which I love, sand tray, play therapy. So I'm very following the tail of the comedy in terms of attuning to what seems like it may support and nurture the clients that come into my office, who I so care about. And I do some trainings and support for therapists as well who are wanting to learn more about these ways of working with human beings. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So the topic today is integration of brain spotting, expressive arts, and IPNB.
The way I describe it to clients is, the retina is an outgrowth of the developing nervous system. So everything that's ever happened to us is stored within us. We know it in a way we might not know it with our words, but we know it through our senses. And so brain spotting uses a combination of the relationship, which is the most important, and then a combination of eye positions and mindfulness to allow us to get in touch with the deeper parts of the subcortical brain, perhaps traumas that are held that need to come out up and out, along with discovering resiliency that we have to allow for healing from that trauma. And I guess where, for me, the relational neuroscience came in is the dual attunement. Brainspotting is a dual attunement model, which means we first are attending to the relational part of the energy in the room, creating a safe space. And then David says the neurobiological follows once the relational is there. And he said, and I believe too, like, does any therapy work without that relational aspect? And so that's what kind of really allowed me to take in that information when I was taught it about what is necessary to develop that safety for the brain in relationship so that the neurobiological will follow. And that's where I got really passionate about relational neuroscience, because if we're trying to attune to our clients in a relational way, we really should know a little bit about how the brain works and how to create that experience for our clients. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and really the more information that comes out, the more research that comes out, especially about trauma, it's like we can't keep treating the head like it's without a body and like the head was like the body's without a brain, like it's all connected, right?
Mhm.
So
Sure.
it's so it's exciting to me that things continue to shift in this direction. We're gaining more understanding about
Yeah. And
this.
that senses are central. Sometimes I'll write down, like I'll take a training and I'll write down in quotes little things I hear that I'm like, yes. And David said, the senses are central to the neuro experiential model. So, because we don't know everything that happened to us in our brains, but we know it in our body, we know it in our emotions. Um, and so we might have to just feel through something in a somatic way to clear it. Um, yeah,
Yeah. And then how does the expressive arts play into all this for you?
sure, sure. So what I've learned about what Bonnie Badenoch talks about in her books is, to really build and those neural networks of secure attachment, which is what is going to support and help people in working through adverse experiences and connecting with their resiliency, is these qualities in the therapist of um, presence, contact, reflection, delight, and responsiveness. And in her book, she goes into detail about really how to embody all of those in the therapeutic relationship. And so, knowing that we needed the relationship to um, allow room for the neurobiological to manifest, I wanted to really get good at those qualities for my clients. And so I actually have them written down. They're like on my desk. I look at them very, very often when I work with, I provide clinical supervision for a nonprofit. You know, I teach the people that I get to work with that those are the qualities. Like if you forget what you're supposed to do in an assessment or you're not sure what to say, just come back to allowing those qualities to come forward. Um, and so as I started really doing that, what I noticed is I love brain spotting. I love the idea of clients coming in with a frame. And as I started really working on those qualities, I noticed the frame can be anything. It doesn't need to be, and I think, they teach this as we go through the phases. Um, so it doesn't need to be like we sit down and we name an event and we name a feeling and we name where it is on our body and we find the spot. I have kids that come into this office and they don't always want to do that. I have clients who are neurodivergent coming into the office and they don't always want to do that. And even some adults do, and some kids do. They want to come in, they want to name the feeling, and they're ready and they're primed to go for it. And that's amazing and wonderful. And incredible things happen. But what I started noticing is that as I received the client with those qualities, the frame would just walk into the room right away. And so that is where the expressive arts really started coming in terms of clients coming in. I had a kid come in and they just wanted to play catch. And so we're playing catch back and forth. And uh, Bruce Perry has said sometimes kids or adults can't find safety just in the relationship. So they need like rhythmic, repetitive, embodied movement to allow for that safety to be found so that then they find safety in the relationship and then the neurobiological comes. So, me and this client were playing catch, which is a really common thing young kids like to do, adults like to do, where we're getting that safety in the brainstem, where they can feel that safety relationally from us. And as we were doing it, I just sort of noticed, oh, he has a gaze spot. And so from there, it was like, hey, how you feeling as we play catch? And the kid was like, I feel really happy. And so I have a little happy puppet, got the happy puppet, started sort of moving. Where do you feel the most happy? And he was on the other side of the room. I was here and found the spot. And then it became like a target practice. He was trying to hit the happy spot. And then I involved the drum, to involve the senses so he could hear the beat of the drum when he threw the ball. And from there, this whole brain spotting session just happened because he went from like happy to then frustrated to then irritated by difference in rules and different settings he had to be in. And we were just playing catch the whole time. And this kid is doing major deep processing. And so from there, I have kids that will come in or adults who are like, I'm not doing your wand thing. And rather than trying to like sell them or convince them of it, I'm like, all right, no worries. Like, we'll just be here together and be in relationship. And inevitably, like, they might say something that reminds me of a song. And I might say, hey, what you're talking about reminds me of this certain song that I know. And would you be open to listening to it. You can tell me if it's a match for you or a match for not. And or do you have a favorite song? Do you have a song that you enjoy either to play or sing? And as the music comes forward, you see the gay spots. And then and then you're treating it from, you don't have to talk about especially teenagers, you don't have to talk about the client. You can talk about what the singer in the song is experiencing, or the line in the song they most identify with, or the feeling the song gives to them. And it just goes from there in terms of sand tray and poetry and art and everything that can assist clients in finding frame. And then from there, I had a client I was working with yesterday, and this client wanted a brain spot, and we were on Zoom. They wanted a brain spot, they knew, but I've worked with this client for some time, and this client just started speaking like poetry. It was amazing. And I said, "Are you wanting, I know the client. I said, "Are you wanting to get, some paper and pen to write while we're working together?" And the client was like, "I do." And you can kind of feel it intuitively after you get to know someone. And it was amazing. Because she would brain spot and then write and then brain spot and then write, and then she started reading what she was writing to me, and I'm just sitting there totally spellbound by the words that she's uh, saying, and she can see it on my face, the delight, the presence, the responsiveness, the connection, the contact, reflection, and she just starts laughing too. She's like, "Yeah, I am really good at this. I forget." And I'm like, "You
Wow.
are really good at this." And then you have, whether it's play or santray or music or art or poetry, now you have a co-therapist that they're bringing home with them. And it doesn't need to be all you anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't plan it. It just, once the relational attunement was there, and I still have a lot of work to do on that. I'm getting ready to do, you can do Bonnie Badenoch's training for a full year, do a deep dive into interpersonal neurobiology, relational neuroscience, and attachment. So I'm getting ready to do that. I'm really excited. So I have, lots to learn. But even just starting to read some of the writing and start to implement some of what you read, I think can really impact who we are as therapists and how we show up with the people that we get to be with.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of getting ready for this yesterday and wanting to make sure I sounded like I knew a little bit about what I was talking about. So I was rereading some of the stuff I really am passionate about. And this was in one of Bonnie's books. I think her first one, The Brainwise Therapist. And I think, relational neuroscience, expressive arts, brain spotting, they're all so, they just work beautifully together. It's like a perfect match. You don't really have to try. It just kind of happens, as long as you're following the tail of the comet and in attunement. But one of the sentences in her books that I was like, oh my gosh, yes. She wrote, "Words become the manifestation of attunement rather than the primary bid for relationship." And that's so much of what we're about as brain spotters, because
Yeah.
why am I talking, right? The weight that we learn in phase one and phase two, it's why am I talking? Because if we're attuned, that doesn't need to be, words don't need to be the way we bid for relationship. We bid for connection because it's there. And then knowing that, senses are so integral to the neuroexperiential model, like expressive art. I mean, if you think about music, you're involving, because I have drums in here, and you're involving tactile. You've got the vision of, because I move the drums depending on where the spot is, and then you got the back and forth if the client wants it. Maybe the client just wants to play on their own. Maybe they want the support of the therapist, and that's where a lot of the education I got in music therapy really helps. So you've got like auditory, you've got tactile, you've got the vision, and then and with if you're in sand tray, you've got the tactile of the sand, and if you're art, all the senses and that you're integrating when you start kind of marrying all these together and collaborating on them, and then you create so many avenues for uh, opportunities for clients when different parts come into the room, different parts of self and protectors. You know, you've got all these different ways of them being able to express and honor and even like switch. Like, okay, I'm going to do music today. All right, I'm doing art today. Okay, I'm going to do sand tray today. And sort of like needing to dabble in everything and then incorporating brain spotting with all of that. So, yeah, it's really fun.
It sounds amazing. And right, it's like beyond the pointer, right? Like in brain spotting, it's like you can use all of these things.
Yeah, and I remember, and I was talking, I'm assisting Martha Jacoby in a training she's going to do. And I was talking to her about that. And she had the best sentence, which I'm going to not do it justice, but I was talking to her about how before, I became studied in brain spotting, I had a supervisor say to me, even if you don't ever hold a pointer, and Martha said it so perfectly, like, even if you never use a pointer, training in brain spotting shifts how you fundamentally are with clients. Whether that's because you learn to trust the client's intuition, trust their neurobiology. You learn to attune to them in a different way, whether they're using play, music, art, or even just talking. You just learn to be with them in a deeper, more connected way. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Which leads me to a question for you
Okay.
because, right, I think for a lot of us that get to this place in our practice, at some point we're trained in like other models or other ways of doing therapy. And right, so that even just like Martha's statement of it's shifting like the whole mindset about therapy and how you are with clients. Like, how did you get here? I'm always so curious to hear like therapist stories about like how did you get here?
Yeah. So I feel like, well, so I was always a singer as a kid. And, I've thought about it a lot. And I think my nervous system needed soothing for all of our nervous systems need soothing. And I think for me, I didn't know it then, but I started singing. And now as I reflect, I was like, oh, I was like breathing. I was learning to breathe and I had had asthma and I was feeling the vibration within me. And I just would sing and sing and sing and sing. And I was really blessed that I was pretty good at it. Uh, yeah, I was really good at it. And so it led me to this opportunity to go to this college preparatory high school in Philadelphia, where I grew up, because I received a voice scholarship to go to this school that otherwise I would not have attended. And my parents, I'm first generation. My parents are from Ireland. So I'm first generation American and a first generation college student. And me attending this high school um, made it so college was normal. Like it was just what was next on my path. And otherwise, it wouldn't have been that way. I have three older brothers who didn't go to college right after high school. And so, I was singing all the time, and it was a requirement because I was getting money to go to that school. And most of the girls that were on music scholarship at my high school would go into performance. But I found music therapy and I was like, that's what I want to do. It really meant a lot to me that because even as a kid, we'd go into nursing homes and sing. And I can really remember being like, this is making all these people really happy. Like, I can do this, like, even real little. Like, I'm making a difference and that meaning something to me. It it lit me up a little bit. And so when I found music therapy and figured out I could like use music to work and keep singing and keep studying music and use it to connect with people who might have developmental disabilities or people in a nursing home. I was like, that's it. So I went on to do that. And it was probably my senior year that my one of my professors shared a story. She worked in a juvenile hall. And so I was like, oh, I can work with like at-risk teens with this. Like that's awesome. Like because I was an at-risk teen, probably like in college, I was a little wild. And so then went on to do, I had an internship at a children's group home in Pennsylvania and started doing music therapy there. And then kind of traveled around, made it to Tahoe, started a business here, and became an adjunct therapist probably in 2003 for licensed professionals who were working with kids 0 to 5 with attachment challenges, and met an incredible man named Ron Henke who started training me in attachment and play therapy, et cetera. And then realized like, hey, I need to get my master's degree if I'm going to not just be an adjunct therapist in this realm of my work. I was doing work with people with and without dementia, and kids with developmental disabilities, and kids on who are neurodivergent as well at the same time. Got my master's degree, and then took a long, long, long road because I had kids and all sorts of stuff happen, moves and things to get licensed. Before I got licensed, found Brainspotting, or Brainspotting found me, and I was one of Lisa Larson's demos in her phase 1, and it was life-changing for me. And I ended up working for her during COVID, so learned so many amazing things getting to work with Lisa and Kelly, and then started the expressive arts and the play therapy and all that just started kind of walking into my room because I was already doing it. I hadn't thought to combine them, but it just started to happen. And then met one of my favorite mentors who started teaching me about relational neuroscience and Santre, et cetera. And everything just started to like kind of come together. And I have a really fun practice. I really enjoy my work, and I'm still doing the work part-time for the nonprofit and doing some clinical supervision for them as well as my private practice. So I feel really lucky.
I mean,
Yeah.
you work pretty hard to get there.
Yeah, I'm slowly realizing that. Yeah, I can take a pat on the back every once in a while.
Yes, yes, right. And
Yeah,
continue to. Yeah, that's
yeah. Thank you, Meredith. That's so kind.
yeah. It's true though, right? Sometimes we get so in the day to day and like, oh, right, we're supposed to continue learning. And of course, like, what a gift to continue learning. And then forget to pause for a moment and say, like, not only are you continuing to learn, it's like you're really following a path that's like authentic to you.
Oh,
Like, how amazing is that?
wow. I think I had to. I think I had a lot of healing to do. I think I still have a lot of healing to do. So I think I just it it was partly out of necessity. Um, but I also really love uh, I love working with the people I work with, and I do want to keep learning because I'm passionate about this stuff. Like I like it. Like my husband will be like, "So if we won the lottery, what would you do?" And I'm like, this might sound wild and crazy. Like I think I'd still want to keep working a little bit because I really do love this. It's it's hard. It is hard and it's heavy. Um, but I am pretty good about getting the support I need, and I have really good support. But it's also really amazing and fun. I have someone I'm working with who is in high school and neurodivergent, and the other day they just, we were working together, and like this person uses a fidget, so it kind of becomes like a brain spot or resource spot. And this person wrote like an amazing poem, and I read it back to them. They didn't know they were doing it. I was writing while they were kind of doing it. I read it back, and to have kind of a kid who maybe came in with not feeling so great about themselves, be like, maybe I am a poet. It's like, that's really rewarding. Or have a kid figure out, I'm, I love music, or maybe I do have some musical talent. Um, it's pretty rewarding work. It's inspiring. The people we work with are inspiring.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just I'm looking back at the learning objectives, and I think that we really touched on everything, right? Identifying what brain spotting is, how it can be used to treat trauma, um, and really with this like expanded understanding of trauma, right? Like that's what I get that sense from everything you've talked about, and it doesn't just it's right. I have still there's a misconception about trauma and the way that it was defined, this like PTSD, one event, it has to be like something you either went to war or you're right,
No
but
way.
like
No way.
our understanding so expanded now that
Yeah. Like, I mean, relational neuroscience would say connection is a biological imperative. We need it. So anything for us, especially when we're kids, because we know we need to be in connection to survive. I mean, we know that inside. And the brain is main purpose is to help us survive. And so that anything that feels like has caused us to be out of connection, if there's not repair, is a, is traumatic. And anything for a creative or artists that makes them have to diminish their light or stop doing what they're doing, that's traumatic. It's taking away parts of them. And it's hard because I know, I remember in like fifth grade, I wrote an entire play and I brought it to the teacher. I was like, I wrote a play, and she was so annoyed because I hadn't done any of my other work. I was like, so I mean, and I have compassion for that teacher now. Like, I'm sure she was under pressure for us to do our work, and I was just writing a play. But at the time, that was traumatic because I'd spent a lot of time on it and I wanted to be received and delight and reflected and affirmed. And so little things like that for kids can feel really big. And if it's not repaired, then that and they're alone in it, it can embed as a trauma.
yeah,
Yeah,
and especially a bunch of those things happening over a lifetime, right? It's like,
absolutely. And I mean, I just think of the kids that I see today. I mean, they've been through COVID. They were
right?
totally taken out of connection with their communities. And and then we had a fire here that people were evacuated for right near COVID, and and we've had some other pretty big community traumas recently, but like anything and that makes a kid feel unsure or unsafe. And if the parent's also going through something and they can't provide that, hey, I got you. You're not alone in this. I can meet you with a regulated nervous system. Developmentally, they need processing around that. They need support around that. Or and how people are received. I mean, we know that there are so many kids that are identifying or as neurodivergent or with disability or on the LGBTQ. And if they're received or not seen in a way that is affirming of who they are as humans, and that's traumatic because it's taking them out of connection with their community. And we need connection. So, yeah, I think you're right that we're looking at trauma differently now than just, oh, you've gone to war.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that I love about brain spotting, and you touched on this, is that it's like you don't even have to talk about it. You don't even really have to know what it was.
I don't think most people do know,
Yeah.
especially kids.
Right.
Yeah. I had a kid this week who told me I was really good at my job. That was really precious, special. Those are the things you kind of grasp on and take home. And this was just, you know, they were in the sand using the figures, using the symbols, and I attuned to their eye position. I really didn't, with presence and delight and contact and reflection and all that. And this kid just worked through so much in just one session and could feel the difference. And this kid was under, I don't want to give details, but like under 15, way under 15. And it was cute that they told me I was good at my job. Um, but it really was their neurobiology doing the work and them just having the space to be with themselves and explore and play and have me receive them in the relationship with unconditional positive regard, and then attune neurobiologically to what was happening for them with their eye positions.
Yeah. No, it's like feels like magic, right? Like it's a,
Yeah. And it's okay that it feels, I think we can let ourselves trust that some of it is magic and some of it's just brain science. And
right,
again, this is all as far as brain spotting goes. It's the theory. We're actually it's a phenomenon that
right,
works, and we actually don't have the research to know exactly why. We have theories about why it works, but we
right.
know it's working. We see it all the time,
Yeah.
and it's working quickly,
Yes.
really improving people's qualities of lives much faster than uh, therapies that aren't doing the deep brain work.
Right. Yeah. So it really is magic, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah. So, and something you touched on, that I don't know if you could speak a little more about this idea. I love that you brought this up of they get a therapist to bring home with them in terms of like
yeah,
the art or the music or the sport or whatever it is. Do you have any tips or exercises or anything that like folks maybe watching this can use in a safe way, to get some of this goodness?
sure. I mean, I think the best thing therapists can do to really figure out for themselves how they can integrate, whether it's play therapy, whether it's using therapeutic music activities, whether it's using art or poetry or sand tray or play, is for them to do their own work, right? Like, like rather than have a list, okay, take a song that you like. And I mean, you can do that. Like if someone's doing some expansion work and a song really comes up for them, you can say like, take that song with you, play that song. Or if someone starts writing or creating and continue that at home, notice that spot that brings that to you. But I really think for therapists to embody it, they need to be able to experience it for themselves and really figure out what lights them up creatively and what works for them and how they can incorporate brain spotting and expressive arts. And there's a number of ways to do that. I mean, just experimenting with it yourself at home. And then there's other therapists doing trainings and retreats and things like that. I think it's worth experiencing because I'm a consultant, so I'll help uh, people get their certification in brain spotting. And I'm as a, you're teaching all the really important parts like following the tail comet, weight, dual attunement, experiencing it with arts. I think it creates more embodiment. You really start to get it in a different way if you're using, art or music or play or sand or nature, you understand the concepts differently because we know that expressive arts lights up parts of the brain. We're just hearing words. Uh, it, it's different. It's different. We know that using expressive arts lights up more parts of the brain than just hearing the words.
Yes, I was looking for my brain model, but it's not
Oh,
handy.
I have mine. Do you want
Oh
to
yeah,
see mine?
I love a visual. Yeah, like right. So we know like talking
Is
is
left, linear,
right.
logical.
Yeah,
But talking with story or play or poetry is that's going to bring in the right brain. And music lights up so many different parts of the brain.
right.
And I heard someone describe sand tray, which I thought was really beautiful, of saying like you're moving the sand in a container, it's a container, and that's what we do in the womb. We're like contained, but we're moving, we're pressing up against things. And then I think of a song, like a song, whether you're singing it or just listening it or playing it, a song is usually about a 3-minute container.
Mm,
And there's something so safe about playing a song because you know in 3 minutes that song's going to be kind of like tied up with a little bow. And I think it makes people more brave to share what's happening for them. So it's like everything in one. It's the container, it's the expression of the song, and it's like held together safely. Plus, it has the metaphor of even if you relate to the story, you can just really have compassion for the singer or the artist if you want to. So I think, people get braver. Teens might not want to talk about anything that's going on, but they will always play you their music.
mm, that's a great tip. It's
And
true.
so when they're playing their music, I am attuning, noticing where those gaze spots go, and being open to kind of whatever comes next in terms of what the client wants to share or express about the song, or if they're open to singing it and they're open to making their own music, playing a beat with it, and it just creates structure. I remember what I was going to say. I think his name is Victor Mueller, interbrain synchronization. So there are studies out there that show that just listening to the same music or creating music together that is enjoyed and has a strong meter creates this opportunity for interbrain synchronization, which means your neural patterns are mirroring each other, which is what is a better setup for brain spotting than having that happen. So
Wow.
I do that a lot with little kids. I do like a lot of singing and strong rhythm, and then seeing kind of where the eyes go, or if moving the drum, and then creating opportunity for parent and kid to have that healing eye contact for reciprocity and connection and attachment.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah, so I'm just taking I'm integrating all this too. Like this, it's really I love doing these. I love talking to different therapists about these like, unboxed, non-pathologizing, just like really just amazing ways of working with folks. It's just
And I think we're lucky because like there's some really awesome modalities in therapy, but they're so rigid in terms of structure.
yes.
You can't integrate all these and use the gifts of all the other therapists that are practicing. But we're lucky that David Grand is so open to the possibility, and it's not a fixed model, that he sort of trusts the evolution of brain spotting. And I said that to him once, and he actually said, you shouldn't be asking why I'm like that. You should ask why other modalities aren't.
True. And it just feels very aligned, right? Like with the value system behind brain spotting.
Yeah. The non-pathology. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This like, and really the purpose of this, series is, you know, bottom line, like there's really no one size fits all way to heal. So
No,
how could we like expect that there's one?
how could we with all the neural like and I love that you're doing this and thank you for doing this and thank you for that your title too, the unboxed healing. It's brilliant. But like how could we? You're right with what is it? They say Demir DeMonte says like over 8 quadrillion neural networks. I
Oh
don't know.
my
I'm
gosh,
sure I'm getting the number wrong. Never been great with
it's growing every day. But that's
numbers.
every time I like assist at a phase one training, it's like the number it increases because they're finding more and more every day.
How,
Quadrillion. Like you can't even wrap your head around like how many brain connections that is.
yeah,
Like,
how do we know?
yeah.
And yet, like people are put into boxes so early on in life. And
Yes.
so when they come and they engage in brain spotting and they start to discover, oh my gosh, like I'm an artist, you know, I'm a musician, I'm a poet, I'm a creator. And they start to discover that. And all of a sudden their identity changes. I'm not just, you know, I'm not just ADHD. I'm not just autism. I'm not just post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, no, why do we even have those labels on human beings? Music is rewarding for
Yeah.
kids, so it can provide motivation to be open to brain spotting opportunities if you're incorporating music with children. And play is rewarding in art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it makes so much sense that it doesn't have to even start with like the story of the topic they want to a client wants to work on or like the problem to be solved, right? It can start with a song or a game. It's like,
It'll come up in the relationship. And then what do they say? Like all roads lead to Rome. Once you
right.
start, you
Yeah.
know, then sometimes, not all the time, it doesn't have to be, but sometimes people will start to be like, hey, that's like me. Hey, that reminds me of me. This happened to me, or I was kind of like that. And I think it's so cute when that happens and really just special and tender.
Absolutely. Well, Colleen, thank you so much
Oh,
for
you're
being here
welcome.
today. And so if anyone wants to connect with you, learn more about what you offer, where can they go? How can they find you?
I have a website, cktherapyservices.com. So they can go on there and yeah, they can look there. We're having a children's consultation group come up. We're doing a half day retreat and some training. So if people are interested, and if not, Christy Sneddon does some poetry with Serene. That's really great. And Nula is also doing an expressive arts training. So there's like lots of different options to get this experience, um, and different personalities for people to go with uh, the the energy and the personality that feels really good to them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
The Bone to Brain International Journal.
Yes.
That's really important that Christy Sneddon has started an international literary journal called Bone to Brain. I believe it's bonetobrain.com, and it's amazing to see what clinicians are submitting in terms of their art and their poetry. And they're going to start a YouTube channel with songs, and then giving the clients the opportunity to submit as well, because our clients need their work to be seen. And then there's also a children's section. And children really need their work to be witnessed. So that's really important that I mention that. So
That's
people should
fair.
definitely check that journal out. It's really beautiful to see the works that are coming into that, and that how we can all contribute and have a chance to share uh our creations, which we need that too. Like we do a hard job and we need the chance to share what's happening for us.
Absolutely. And just really quick, like how did you end up getting involved? Because I think you're involved in the children's part, right?
Yeah, I was so lucky to get involved. I was on like it was like a specialty for people who do consultation for therapists who work with kids. And I was on a meeting that yeah, that was being run by that Monica Bauman runs that group. And I
Oh,
met Christy, and Christy and I connected. And then when she started the journal, she said, "Hey, will you be the editor for the kids section?" I was like, "I'm in." And
wow. Cool.
it's been really great. Yeah, Christy's really easy to work with, fun to work with, and the all the people that are doing part of the group, they're just great people and they're really creative and it's fun. So, yeah.
Amazing. Good stuff. Well, thank you for doing the work that you do. And thank you everyone who was able to make it live and everyone who'll be watching um, us on YouTube. And until next time,
All
bye.
right. See you soon.
See ya.